The Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, good fortune to you all. Happy Thursday. Here we are in the McAllen Creative Incubator at 97.7 FM, KCYP, The City, out of McAllen, Texas. Glad to be here with you today, as usual. It's a great Thursday. Great time to be alive. Great time to be American. Great time to be pretty much anybody in God's green earth. But here's what we're going to talk about today. Well, how about what you want to talk about today? I've got my little screen here going for Facebook. And you guys throw up your comments. Tell me, what is it that you want to talk about? All right? And what I'll do is I'll just respond with, hey, let's talk about it. You go where you want to go. And that's fine with me. But I am prepared, as you well know. So, what I would like to talk about first are the numbers. We always have the numbers, right? So we have gold coming in at $1,901 for 1 ounce of gold. Silver, $22.94 an ounce, which again, you can't get it for that cheap because it's way, way undervalued. And Bitcoin, now's your chance, ladies and gents. $27,571 for one Bitcoin, down 4% basically from the last few weeks where it was hovering around 29.30. So now might be a good time if you're interested in Bitcoin. I'm not going to sell it to you. I just want to tell you that it's out there. Maria, glad to see you. Glad to see you're here. If you want to talk about something, let me know. Oh, and another thing is the average mortgage rate. Not so good, everybody. It rose again. Not surprising, but still, a kick in the gut if you're looking for a home. The average countrywide, nationwide, 30-year rate is 7.4. No bueno. And 15-year rate is 6.64. And it doesn't seem that anything is indicating any type of decline in those rates. So all I can say is I hope you're in a good position, and if you are not, throw up your name or send me an email, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I'd like to pray for you because we're gonna be going through some rough times in the next 1.5 to 2 years. Yes, I do believe that after that time period, once Donald Trump is back in the White House, that we will have a time of prosperity. We will have industrialization. We're going to have manufacturing come back to our country. It's all planned out. It's all ready to go. But as you know, as we've been saying, there are people who don't see things the way we do. So they need to be shown. And that's what this 1.5 or 2 years more of Joe and whatever it is the communists want to throw at us, we're going to have to be ready for. So if you'd like some prayer, if you're in a tough spot, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com, and I'll pray for you. I personally will pray for you. Now, as we are titled the Bitcoin Otter Show, we do have to touch on some. Eric, good to see that you're with us. Let me know if you want to talk about something specific. Now, the crypto news for today is that former president, they call him former, I don't, President Donald Trump's crypto wallet is being monitored by Arkham Intelligence. Arkham Intelligence. I don't follow all the superhero kind of stuff because they make way too much money off of people. But I think wasn't Arkham the bad guy? Was Arkham a bad place? I don't know. But anyway, they're following Donald Trump's wallet, his crypto wallet. And it says that blockchain intelligence firm, this is off the crypto news if I didn't already say that. Arkham Intelligence has revealed that it is now actively tracking the wallet it believes belongs to former President Donald Trump to gather more information. In a series of Twitter threads on Wednesday, Arkham claimed that Trump is the owner of a cryptocurrency wallet that is collecting millions in royalty payments from non-fungible tokens. Is that a crime nowadays? Is that a crime nowadays that you have an enterprising bit of crypto business and people willingly, not more than willingly, they sold out in less than a day, these NFTs for Donald Trump, twice. So this is something obviously people want, but yet, like everything else, it's being intruded upon and surveilled. Oh boy. This from Bitcoin.com. Robert Kiyosaki recommends buying silver before it's gone. I don't know if you remember Mr. Kiyosaki, but he wrote a great book in 1997 called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he basically explained why rich people are rich and why poor people stay poor. So he says that he's urging investors to buy silver before it's gone, noting that the precious metal is getting rarer. Okay? He stressed that silver is a better bargain as a long-term investment than gold. We've gone over this before. I'll briefly cut into it really quick. Why would someone as smart as this gentleman say silver is a better deal than gold? Well, my first reaction is the ratio. So historically speaking, hundreds and thousands of years back, the ratio between the value of silver and gold would be at a 14-to-1. So 14 ounces of silver would buy you 1 ounce of gold. You know, speaking in the sense of, you know, hundreds and perhaps thousands of years, because that's how gold has been used, right, throughout our history. So when you compare modern times, apparently, and this is just something I've read, I haven't really studied, but the ratio has been around 40-to-60-to-1. Well, now, and I didn't check today, but now it's somewhere around 80-to-85-to-1, right? So they expect a correction. They expect that at some point, silver ratio is going to go back down. So what you're buying now at a ratio of 80-to-85-to-1 will go down to maybe 40-60, or depending on if things really, really go crazy, it'll go back to your historical 14-to-1. So imagine how much gold you could then buy if you wanted to. But I digress. So he also, and this is out of Bitcoin.com, but this is a different article. Robert Kiyosaki predicts Bitcoin rising to 1 million, gold to 75,000 an ounce, and silver to 60,000 an ounce if world economy crashes. So, I mean, I'm not a doomsayer. I hope no one thinks that about me or the show. But when I say that the economy is doing poorly, it's because the people that are in control of the economy won't tell you that, because they lie to you. In 2008, they had, who was that guy? Man, I can't remember. I'm blanking on that, but he was the Fed chairman, and he was lying out of his teeth, man. Oh, no, we don't think we're going to have recession. We don't, and bam, it hit you. Why? Because they don't want you to know. Because they don't want you to take measures to protect you and your family. That's why I started this show. One of the reasons why I started this show. I don't want to know that there are people that could have been warned, should have been warned, would have listened to a warning, and not been given advanced knowledge. So here I am. Joe's here with us. Joe's son is here with us. Say hi, Joseph.
Hello.
There we go. So we're here in the studio for one reason right now, to help you out. To make sure that you at least know that something's coming and you can prepare for it. You don't have to. I won't force anyone. I'm not calling your phone. I'm just saying there's an issue out there. There are multiple issues, and there are things you can do. And as Mr. Kiyosaki says, one of them is buying silver. Okay? But in the end, it's you. You do you. That's the way the world works. You live how you want to live. You do what you want to do in a free country. That's still possible. We'll see what happens in the next year and a half to 2 years. And I'm the optimist. I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to be better than fine. And that our children will have more opportunities than we had. But that's me. You do your own research. You study. I can help you with it. BitcoinOtter.media@gmail.com. I can point you in the right direction if you would like. I got some sources. So I'm willing to help you. But you are the arbiter of truth in your mind. I'm just saying. Tammy, good to see you, Tammy. Glad you could make it today. So, going along with the last story, Mr. Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, says that he believes that gold going to 75,000 ounce and silver to 60,000 an ounce if the world economy crashes. Now, I don't have it this week, but China's not doing so well, everybody. China's economy is going poorly also. So we're going to see what happens. But if you want to say the world economy, yeah, it's possible, although the BRICS nations Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and many more now have joined, including Saudi Arabia and Mexico that are applying currently. I don't think they've been accepted yet, but I don't see why they wouldn't be. They are doing something about it. They are creating a new currency for their trading bloc. They are making advances toward a better economy. Here in the West, not so much. So, this is still from the same article. Noting that he has been saying for years that gold and silver are God's money, while Bitcoin is the people's money. That's interesting. I like that. The famous author wrote, bad news. If stock and bond markets crash, gold and silver skyrocket. Worse news. If world economy crashes, Bitcoin will rise to 1 million, gold to 75,000, and silver to 60,000. Take it with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen. He's just one man. Thanks, Tammy. He's just one man. However, he's a smart guy, and he knows what he's talking about. If you've ever read his books, they're good. They're good. Robert Kiyosaki, and the best way to find him would be looking up his book, his best, well, maybe not his best, but his biggest, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So check that out when you get a chance. And this is from the Gateway Pundit, everybody. Everybody knows about this now, except for maybe Joe, that there was a huge fire in Maui. And I don't know exactly how to pronounce that town, Laina or something like that. But Maui resident says we were winning against fires until water shut off. Hey, Joe, you know they shut the water off during a record fire? Someone shut the water off. Might have been the same person who disabled the emergency sirens, so people didn't know. Or maybe it was the people that ordered the residents back into the town while evacuating civilians in buses. I shouldn't say civilians, tourists in buses. Forcing the residents to go back into a fire disaster, yet evacuating, using buses, tourists. You smell a rat, Joe? I smell a rat. Why? And then the Gateway Pundit today comes out with this title that says, Maui resident says we were winning against fires until the water shut off. They shut off the water? Why would they do that? Why would somebody make a disaster worse? Or maybe we ought to think along these lines. Why would someone make a disaster? Huh? You think? I might be crazy. If so, I'm not the only one, ladies and gents. I'm not the only crazy one, because there's a lot of people who think there's a rat involved, or many rats involved in this horrible tragedy in Hawaii. Why do I say that? And we're going to get into this a little bit more. Zero Hedge has an article on this. Just hang on a little bit and you'll see what I mean. So a Maui resident told several news outlets, you can find this I'm sure if you look, the water was shut off while he and other members of the Maui community were battling fires. So there they are battling for their lives, their homes, their neighbors' homes and lives, and somebody decided to shut off the water, man. Just shut off the water. Wasn't because his hose melted. Wasn't because, just couldn't get the water to the people. It was just somebody shut it off. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it gets crazy, but we're winning. I know it doesn't look that way, but we're winning. Tell that to the people of Maui, right? Yeah, well, my heart goes out to them. We do need to pray for them. We do need to come together as a country, regardless of what some people call our leadership and how it's ignoring the issue. Please come together. Come and show them how we can help. And I want to help. But even that was complicated because it was disaster stuff. They wouldn't send the disaster stuff. They wouldn't send aid unless it was from official channels like the Red Cross. And we may have spoken about it before, but the Red Cross is not a clean agency. Not whatsoever. So what is it that they wanted to put these people through? I don't know. That's just me. I won't dwell on it. Maybe if I have some more solid information, I'll come back with it. But Here's one that might interest you. Harvard University encourages students to go on food stamps while sitting on $53 million endowment. So as you know, if you go to Harvard, if you go to any school, which I never went to, you'll be able to give in perpetuity to the alumni fund, right? Well, I guess the people of Harvard University have done well for themselves. So Harvard has amassed $53 billion in some, rainy day fund. Yet they're encouraging their students, actually showing them how to go on food stamps. They really care, don't they, ladies and gentlemen? They really care about today's youth. They're wanting to edify them and educate them while they're on food stamps. Harvard would prefer that their students get food assistance from American taxpayers than from the massive tax-free nest egg they're saving for a rainy day. Wonderful people over there at Harvard, I say, sarcastically. All right. I mentioned earlier about things not being on the up and up there in Maui, in Hawaii. So this is not a zero hedge. Why is there such a frenzy to buy up properties that were just burned down during the fires in Hawaii? Oh, please go on, explain. Can you imagine calling up a family that has just seen their home burned to the ground and offering to buy their land for below market value? This is apparently what's happening in Hawaii right now on a massive scale. Grieving property owners are being bombarded with calls from very greedy people. And I think that says a lot about the current state of our society. So, ladies and gentlemen, this author here on Zero Hedge, he says that says something about our society, and it very well might be. But people like myself and many of the listeners here to the show know that there's always something deeper. There's always something below the surface that if you are able to scratch into the surface and see what the deeper issue is, you'll see that it's much more malignant, much more evil, sinister than whatever the surface story is. So that underbelly of the Maui fires has many twists and turns, none of which are confirmed. But the most obvious is, hey, how did it start? And the biggest thing in so-called conspiracy circles, which if I were to put money on someone, I would put it on someone being right. I would put it 100% of the time on a conspiracy theorist as opposed to a journalist, because journalists have not been right in many years about anything. Yet conspiracy theorists are hitting it ding, ding, ding in the middle. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Just saying. So we believe that it's quite possible that a direct energy weapon is what caused some of those fires. Why? Well, in the fires previously, like California fires or fires in other places that were inconsistent, meaning the house will burn down, but the tree next to it doesn't. Or the car will burn, the house is okay, or the car next to it didn't burn. In a parking lot full of cars, only certain cars interspersed, not together, burn. Things like that, okay? Things that just don't mesh with, logical patterns of fire movement. So the other thing is that a group of ugly, super greedy people are either behind it or taking advantage of it, because the locals there, I want to say that the article I read, and it might have been the Zero Hedge article, that when they got into, and some of them are probably generational, so who knows what the value was of the home, but it went in the last few years from somewhere around $300,000 to $600,000 for the average home to about $1 million. Yeah, so those are very valuable properties, and the word that we're getting is that BlackRock is perched for insertion. So that's never a good thing. That's never a good company. That's never anything as a normal person you want to hear. So these people have just lost their homes and they're getting calls about selling. And then the nonsensical non-evacuation orders. The siren didn't work. We're going to have to dig in on this one for a while. It's sad. It's a tragedy. But unfortunately, the response is not surprising because these things are happening more and more, ladies and gents. And they might happen more frequently in the next year and a half to 2 years. Am I saying that to scare people? No. I'm saying let's be prepared. Let's buy a little bit extra at the grocery store, right? You're worried about finances, losing your job? Let's get out of debt. Let's do our best anyway. Maybe not buy that new vehicle. Maybe not get into that new loan. If you can help it. I know that these times are crazy. If you're one of those people that's not making a lot, you've probably dipped into your credit card to pay bills. Last week on the show, we announced that the $1 trillion mark was reached in debt. Yeah, $1 trillion on people's credit cards. This wasn't corporate. This was private. It's crazy, ladies and gents. It's crazy. Now, here's some good news. Coming about the midpoint here. Here's some good news. I want everybody to know I got another new hero. Okay? We had a hero last week. We got another hero this week. Okay? Last week's hero, Jan Helper Hayes. She told everybody the real shot. She told everybody what really to expect from the Trump candidacy. Okay? And what's really going on. Check out last week's show, or if you want a few more sources, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Now, here's my new hero for today. Not to say that Jan Helper Hayes or any of the others have gone away. This is just a new one that I'm adding to the collection here. Argentina's leading presidential candidate vows to shut down thieving central bank. Oh, a man after my own heart. I'm not gay, not saying it's a bad thing, but if I was, I might be moving to Argentina, but I'm not. Anyway, central banks are divided in 4 categories, says this presidential candidate who has gotten the most votes of any presidential candidate in Argentina's history, ladies and gents. Let me read you a quote that endeared him to me. Central banks are divided in 4 categories. The bad ones, like the Federal Reserve, we know all about that one, don't we? The very bad ones, like the ones in Latin America. The horribly bad ones, and the Central Bank of Argentina. Oofa. And this guy's running for president, ladies and gentlemen. He's this close to being the president of Argentina. His name is, and I might not pronounce this right, Milei. M-I-L-E-I. Milei. I don't know. But if he wins the presidency, he plans to hand over the keys to the central bank to economist Emilio Ocampo, his informal advisor on the dollarization program, so that he can shut it down. You gotta shut it down. You gotta. These people. This guy's good. Ocampo will also help in negotiations with the International Monetary Fund, which has a $44 billion program with the South American nation. Do you know what would be a very much better word for program here? How about enslavery acquisition? So they've enslaved the people of Argentina to the tune of $44 billion. This is why guys like Mr. Milei want to do something. This is why Donald Trump wants to do something. This is why Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, wants to do things. And they're doing it. They're doing it. This is why when many people ask me, hey, Otter, why do you think that the deep state, the Illuminati, the cabal, the criminal syndicate, why do you think they're losing power? And this is one of my answers, is that guys like Bukele, guys like this Milei guy, guys like Donald Trump would never be elected if they had the power that they had previously. But yet, Central and South America are getting cleaned up by good guys. There's one for you. One to think about, right? So, the candidate says he has no plans to ask the IMF for more money. Great. And now here's the U.S. media response. You can imagine. This guy wants to do some good things for people. So the media hates him. Why? Because he wants to do good things for people. I thought I just said that. Anyway, what the U.S. media says basically is don't listen to this guy. Don't listen to him. He's this, he's that. He's a populist. He's all kinds of things. But what they really want to say is we have control over your mind. There was a news show at one point or another, and this woman, this I won't disparage her, but let's just say her name's Mika Brzezinski. She's the daughter of a very now dead, now deceased neocon, Zbigniew Brzezinski, who helped write Project for New American Century, and basically a lot of drone attacks, a lot of attacks on third world countries, a lot of destruction, a lot of death. That's what these people really like. They like it. But he's gone now. But his daughter one time was on a cable news show, and someone had said, Donald Trump is now able to, basically tell people what to think. And she said, well, that's not his job. That's our job. So the people who fear Donald Trump influencing our thoughts, they only fear it because they believe that's their job. And you know the stance here. The only one who has the right to tell you what to think is you. Okay? Not even God will invade on your right to freedom of will. He won't even do that. He's refused to. He could, but he refuses to. He gives you free will, a gift that some of us use to destroy ourselves. But, John, good to see you. So the thing is, what we're doing here is seeing where this elaborate deep state place is basically taking us into a place we don't want to go, which is destruction. So anytime they come against someone, in this case, this presidential candidate, Milei, well, then I'm for the guy. Because the U.S. media hates you and me. They love corruption. They love money. They love being in the club, if you know what I mean. Probably Epstein's kind of club. But I go again to things that are just popping in my head. So let me get back to the notes here. So the MSM smear machine turns on conservative Javier Milei, most voted presidential candidate in Argentina's primary elections. Most voted by the people. Therefore, the U.S. mainstream media hates him. Figures. Biden announces $39 billion student loans will be automatically discharged soon. So, all of you who are waiting on that pie in the sky, unconstitutional loan wipe, it might be coming. Now, does Biden know that it's unconstitutional? Of course he does. He knew the first one was, but he wanted to promise you things. So the more he promises, the more he's going to double down. And the more unconstitutional these promises will become. So, yes, the Supreme Court will strike it down. But he knows that he's got about a year or more to play with people's emotions. Okay? He's not in it for you by any stretch. Ask the Hawaiians. So, we're getting to the halfway mark. And I want to remind you that you're listening to 97.7 FM, KCYP, The City. We're out of McAllen, Texas. If you're listening on the internet. You're also listening to us, watching us on Facebook and YouTube, okay? We're coming out at you every week, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're enjoying that you're here. We love the fact that we have people live here. Anything you want to talk about, everybody that you're in the room there, just let me know. Throw it up in the comments. But we're also happy that if you don't have time to watch this live, you can watch it at your leisure, or not even watch it, just put it on in the background while you drive around or do what you got to do, right? So I really much appreciate your time, and I won't take too much of it. But what I want to say is we want to be there for you if you need help. I'm not in a great position myself financially to help you financially, But what I can help you with is information. Hit me up on bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com, and I'll help you get information. I've been studying the conditions of our economy for a long time now. I'm not an economist, certainly not a financial advisor by any stretch of the imagination, so I won't advise you financially. But what I can do is I can supply you with information that can help you make a better educated decision as to how you're going to protect yourself and your family if what I believe to happen happens in the next year and a half to 2 years, which is a steep decline in our economy. So this might include supply lines, China not giving us all the stuff that we're used to, things like that. So if we take care of our needs, not so much our wants, because that may or may not put us into debt, but if we take care of our needs and those of our family now, and we stockpile a little bit, I'm not asking you to go, full prepper mode or anything like that, but pick up a little bit extra here or there. This is just something for you to think about. I don't order anyone to do anything. Even when I do with my kids, they don't listen. So all I can do is suggest. I'm suggesting to you that it might behoove you and your family to stock up on some things. Some things that you really like, some things you really need. I read an article one time about the Sarajevo, I think it was Sarajevo, military occupation of a year, I think it was. And it was like a no man's land. It was crazy. And the guy wrote an article on the things that he never would have thought would be valuable in an emergency situation. One of those was antiseptics, rubbing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide. Another was matches, as you can imagine, Band-Aids, of course, bullets, alcohol. People want alcohol and they'll trade for it. But basically, the things that you need, food, water, things like that for your family, the government will never supply that to you. And if they do, it'll come with strings attached. You can see this in the disaster in Maui, where the so-called president of the United States is going to give those residents $700. Yeah, you heard me. $700. Because, well, their homes are gone. Their lives are gone. Children were told to go home from school, and many of them never, they died. And Joe is giving $700 to those families. So the obvious comparison is, what is he giving to Ukraine? And I don't want to go into this too far because it's not at all entertaining. But just think about it. Do your own math. But that being said, our purpose here is not to scare you, is not to bring impending doom upon you and your family. It is to help you be aware, help you be prepared. And I've mentioned the economic ninja many times. I can give him credit all day long. But he's got a great tagline. It's don't be scared, be prepared. And that's what we're looking for. But part of the mission that I believe that a little while ago, a couple years ago, God has put me on the mission in 2021 of alerting people, letting people know what's going on. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to do it in an entertaining way, and hopefully I keep your interest. So, middle class meltdown. More bad news, right? Thanks to the reckless policies of our leaders, average Americans are in huge trouble. I won't go in anymore. We've gone on that stuff for a while, and the events of our week haven't really been those that we can say, yeah, our country's on the right track. Things are turning around. But what I am here to tell you, whether you believe me or not, that's on you. It's your choice. Is that after a time of difficulty, we will be in a time that I believe will be a great time for us and our families. We just have to go through this low point, okay? And we're going through it now, but we don't have to go through it alone, okay? First of all, we have God with us. Now, you don't have to choose God because he doesn't make you do anything. So basically, we have a choice of being alone or with God for our whole lives. So I have chosen in my life to be with God. His son, Jesus Christ, has become my Savior. You make that decision on your own. If you want some pointers, you want some information, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. But one of the reasons why I can go on after reading all this stuff and you know, frankly, I spent a lot more time preparing for this show than we're actually on the air for. So I want you to know that I'm quite aware of all this negativity, but I am not deterred. Because one, I know God wins in the end. Two, I know the plan for America and the world and how it will succeed. The bad guys are losing. All over the place, you're seeing bad news. All over the place, we're seeing that, you know, it's done. America is dead. All this and that. No, ladies and gentlemen, we are not. We are not dead. We are trying to kill a part of it, which is the corporation. And if you saw last week's show, you realized that Jen Halper Hayes exposed to the world something that we conspiracy theorists have known for a long time, that the Treaty of 1871 was disastrous for the United States, and we've been imprisoned by it. It actually corporatized our nation, municipalities, and your very name. You want more information? bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. Now, the part that we want to kill is the corporate part, because it doesn't operate under constitutional law. It operates under maritime law. I won't get into this too deep, but you know where to go for information, right? I just gave you the email. So that is the part of America that is dying on the vine, so to speak. The constitutional republic, under God, indivisible, one nation, all that stuff, we the people, that is fully alive. Yeah, we've taken a few shots, body shot, body blow, yeah. Maybe a black eye, maybe even a bloody nose, because we've allowed it. We allowed the Federal Reserve to start. We allowed the corporatization in 1871 to even happen. The whole Civil War mess, that was nasty. Yet, we're still here. And we're not giving up. We will not give up, ladies and gents. We will not give up. Because we had such... I grew up, you know, I'm Gen X. I had a great childhood. Not to say that everybody did, but my dad was a middle-class guy because he worked at an auto plant and there was still manufacturing in this country. So he was able to put dinner on the table, buy us a car, one car, right? We had a house, and we never went hungry. That was enough, right? I know a lot of people that had a lot worse childhoods and some that had better. But the fact of the matter is, what I believe to be our future is prosperous because of the things that good people are doing. So while we can focus on all the evil in our world, we can also choose to focus on the good. And that good is all owned by God because he owns good. And God moves people and people do good. That's why I'm here. Now, we don't have a lot more time in the hour and I'm not going to waste your time. Okay, I've got more stuff, but I kind of realized that there's not a lot of happy stuff. That's why I'm talking to you right now. Because I want to encourage you, at the very least, try to encourage you. Because I do believe, and I have reason to believe, that we're going to win. That the United States of America is going to once again be that city on a hill. We will light the way to the path of freedom. We're going to do it. These communists are not going to win. Okay? They overthrew our government? Yes. But the good guys are in control. How do I know? Many ways. I've elaborated, watched a few older shows, but I even mentioned one today. Okay? They're losing control. They've lost. Now they're a rat in the corner, and we got to kill it. Okay? It's got to go. But until then, we're going to go through some rough times. But we're here for you. We will pray for you. We will continue to pray for you and our nation. That's the bottom line. Now, I'll come back next week with a lot of stuff. If you want me to talk about something specific, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com will get you that opportunity. And I'll make sure we do talk about it. Okay? So, we're going to sign off here. A little early, but I'm sure you got some fun things to do today. And if you're working, well, maybe you don't, but your time is valuable, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll have some good news next week. We'll see what we can do. We'll dig it up. Or make it. Maybe we'll make it, right? Anyway, I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. And God bless America.
Let's go!
This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show
Oh my God, I love you so much!
on 97.7 FM, The City.